One of the top rivalries in the Big 12 will end the season. It is the title game here at Sprint Center in Kansas City. We're excited for it. It's Champ Week, presented by Principal.
If anyone can move the rock of the Big 12, it's a team that pushes back the hardest.
And then watch this defense. That's a junkyard.
Just wait and see.
Smooth flight
The ball fake and the finish by Graham.
versus steel force.
He's a titan of the turnover.
Both on a push.
Not thinking about nothing else but winning.
We're not going to go home empty-handed, not this year.
But someone has to bug.
Every March, Big 12 fans invade the Power and Light District here in Kansas City. It becomes one big party outside, and that party then comes inside. Mountaineer fans, KU fans, ready to decide a title. It is the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. The fans have been here all day long, getting set for the tip. We're about set for it. West Virginia and Kansas for the third time this season to see if finally West Virginia can hold on against KU. And what a Big 12 championship it has been. These players have given blood, sweat, tears, teeth. Kerwin Roach turned into a hockey player. We've had buzzer beaters, mid-court shots. We've had a little bit of everything. We've had overtime thrillers. And we have had players paying the price to try and win a title. It has been a lot of fun, and it all comes down to this. Malik Newman has been the player of this championship so far for Kansas, helping out the Big 12 Player of the Year. And now they get one more meeting with West Virginia in the championship game. Kansas was able to get by K-State, a shorthanded bunch of Wildcats, and it was the war we expected between Texas Tech and West Virginia. And we are set for another one now here at Sprint Center. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla. Holly Rowe will join us in just a moment. This is what we were hoping for. This is what you would ask for. And we also get a matchup of two players that are going to go down really as legends in the history of their respective programs. These two point guards go head to head.
Absolutely, Bob. This is the 10th meeting between two of the best competitors to ever play in this league. They are self-made four-year guys who are the heart and soul of their teams. And as they go tonight, it's likely their teams will go.
And Holly Rowe, the question, can West Virginia and that man finally get the job done?
Well, Javon Carter and Daxter Miles are seniors. They're running out of time to do something they have been unable to do in their careers. Take home a trophy from the Big 12 regular season or tournament championship. We asked Javon Carter earlier what it will take to bring that championship trophy to the top of the mountain.
That's definitely a goal. It's going to take everything from our teammates to our coaching staff and just believe. Like, the word for this team is believe.
They will go down as some of the most beloved in West Virginia history, and that includes Hot Rod Hundley and Jerry West. They say they want to hang a banner one day in the Coliseum.
It's really all they have left to do when you look at how their names will be etched in West Virginia basketball history. And here comes the player of the year in the league. Devontae Graham will run the show for KU.
KU spreads the floor, they drive it, they kick it for threes. West Virginia's got to be solid one-on-one defense. That first possession for West Virginia, Bob, they did go inside where it seems like they have an advantage.
Daxter Miles stays red hot. He has been on fire into the regular season and continuing into this tournament.
Absolutely. 70% in this tournament. That's his 11th three-pointer.
Devontae Graham for two.
Oh, he's got him.
Zags Konate down the lane. Great pocket pass from Jevon Carter. And here comes the press. And now Jerry Pollard wants to calm things down as Konate came together with Devontae Graham after the dunk.
Good hustle by the big guy, and Carter found him.
Newman. He's been just as hot as Daxter Miles. Probably the two hottest shooters in this championship have both knocked down a three.
Absolutely, and there's an example of how you have to guard your own man, because when you give help, you give that shot up.
Carter with the shot clock winding down to Issa Ahmad. That's short. Devontae Graham. He's 0 for 3 to start the game. Daxter Miles. And Lightfoot runs it down.
Yeah, that one was a heat check. Very well defended.
LeGerald Vitt rattles home a deuce.
This play taking a long time to develop.
Shot clock down to 7. Miles, a long way from the basket. Goes to work. He's going to have to force one up. Beats the timer. Doesn't get the roll, but a foul is called. And that's going to go against Konate.
Let's go back and watch the big fella, Sagabat Konate, run the floor. And watch this little drop-off with the finish. An easy basket. This is a game where easy baskets will be hard to come by. Watch the pressure, Bob, with Lamont West on the ball. Kansas has success throwing over the top of the press and getting out in transition. Just like that.
Graham with the left hand. The finger roll gets him on the board and gives the Jayhawks the lead.
Remember, when you put somebody on the ball, that means there's no center fielder back to protect that pass over the top.
Mountaineers score the first 5. Kansas answers with the next 7. Issa Ahmad double team. And again the shot clock winding down. Here's Miles giving it up. 4 to shoot. Jevon Carter hooks a pass to Konate, but he can't beat the timer. It's a shot clock violation. Frustration for Bob Huggins. And a 2-point lead for Kansas.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Land Rover, above and beyond.
Eric Martin, former Cincinnati Bearcat, he's like the big man whisperer for Bob Huggins. Sagabat Konate is a terrific young player, but he sometimes loses his cool, and Coach Martin is the guy that calms him down. He's got an advantage inside tonight because this guy is out.
Udoka Azubuike with a sprained MCL suffered in practice just before the tournament began, but look at the production that they have gotten out of Mitch Lightfoot, Silvio De Sousa, basically giving them in these games the same production they would expect from Azubuike. And now, Press Virginia creates a turnover.
I would say production by numbers, yes, but not the size inside to be able to guard a guy like Konate. Remember what Maycall Mayween did last night. 29 points for Kansas State.
And also, without Dean Wade as a front court threat, that was a big break for Kansas against Kansas State in the semis. As West comes up short, Logan Routt, the former walk-on, tries again. Without Azubuike out there to defend the rim, Routt is able to put one back and tie it up at 7. They're playing against a healthy West Virginia team. Malik Newman lost it.
That's 2 terrific plays by the former walk-on. Logan Routt, who played 17 minutes in the quarterfinals, and Bob Huggins has great confidence in that young sophomore. And he told his team in the huddle, we're playing at Kansas's pace, and you could see out of the huddle them picking it up a little bit.
Daxter Miles, mid-range fadeaway is good.
You see West on the ball. They can set their press up on baskets.
Here comes Marcus Garrett for the first time, as he will replace LeGerald Dick.
This is a great place to set up the press. In the far corner where the inbounder, Svi Mykhailiuk, cannot run.
Mykhailiuk in and out for 3. Issa Ahmad fouled by Lightfoot.
West Virginia playing with a little bit of fire because that's the 3rd time the defender went under a screen and gave up a wide open shot.
And here comes the freshman Silvio De Sousa. He will replace Mitch Lightfoot. De Sousa, in the semifinal win over Kansas State, had 8 points and 11 rebounds. West, rainbow triple, comes up short. Devontae Graham to the corner to Mykhailiuk. That's his home office, and he knocks it down.
When you don't guard the ball and you need to bring a second defender to help, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable to the 3. And you cannot do that against a Kansas team that shoots the 3 as well as anybody in this league.
Miles continues to hit shot after shot after shot for West Virginia.
Well, earlier in the season, Daxter Miles of West Virginia was in a slump, shooting just about 5 points per game. He wasn't contributing, and then he had some health problems. He got sick, and he turned his ankle. Well, he was taken out of the starting lineup. First game back from the starting lineup, he scored 14 points. And he said, why? I've been getting in the gym 3 extra times per day. A 2 a day in the morning, a workout before practice, and then a late night shooting session. He was not going to go out like that in his senior year, but the way he improved was getting in the gym, and he has been red hot, or as Fran Fraschilla calls it, he has been hotter than fish grease. And if you need to know, that's 375 degrees. I called some local restaurants to find out just how hot that is.
I didn't even know that, Holly.
Graham off the mark. De Sousa with the follow. And then he comes together with Daxter Miles. And for the second time in the game, Jerry Pollard, one of the officials, has to step in, tell everyone to take a breath.
Now this is the young man who enrolled at Kansas in January. His first action was in a Big 12 game. He was a high school prep star who Bill Self needed an extra body, had the grades to do it, and he's just learning how to contribute, Bob, after 2 months.
Issa Ahmad. And De Sousa had it knocked away by Konate. Grew up in Angola. Played high school basketball in Florida at IMG Academy. And the story we've heard told a couple of times this season, but certainly bears repeating. He got off the plane in December, and he was handed his first ever winter coat. Because he got off the plane in shorts and flip-flops. He was coming from 85 degrees, and KU gave him his first ever parka.
Oh, great battle inside.
Gerald Vick over the head of DeSouza. Here comes Carter. Miles for three again. That one's an air ball. Saved by Konate. West gets a try. In and out. The tip followed just about there for Daxter Miles. He's down on the deck. Beaten to it by Vick. And he hands it off to Newman. Malik Newman lobs it. And DeSouza hangs from the rim.
That all started because of the scrum in the corner by Kansas's bench. Every play is being contested on both ends to start this game. Got to throw it inside. DeSouza is foul prone.
Konate with a bad pass. Devontae Graham off to Newman. Three on the way. That's a brick. But it looks like a whistle and a foul will be called against West Virginia. That's going to go on Javon Carter.
Championship game, championship coaches, championship DNA. Every possession matters. And then when you come up with the ball, oh, you just put it on a platter for the big guy. Newman, DeSouza, the sprint center, and inside and out. They're loving it.
North Carolina and the #1 team in America, Virginia. That is next, and that will determine the ACC championship as Champ Week continues here on ESPN. We've got the Big 12 championship followed by the ACC championship brought to you by New York Life. North Carolina able to get by Duke in the third matchup between the Tobacco Road rivals. Having a key matchup tonight in the championship game on the ACC side.
It's got to be Luke May versus ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Wilkins. May was 2 for 10 in that first game at only 6 points, so he's got to get it going for the Tar Heels.
That'll be a fun one to watch, and it is fun to watch Svi Mykhailiuk shoot the three. He's got another, and that extends the lead to 5. It was a 5-0 West Virginia lead to start the game, so a big turnaround for Kansas. Konate through the double team, up, under, off the rim.
Well, we're seeing some fresh legs out here for the Kansas Jayhawks. That's because their medical staff, Bill Cowgill and Andre Hootie, have done a great job with their recovery work. They're using this system called a Compex muscle stimulator. It's a unit that helps recovery for the upper legs, the quads, and the hamstring. They also use a Firefly device that helps with blood flow in the lower leg. And these players, 4 players on Kansas, have played over 1,000 minutes this season, just 1 on West Virginia. In fact, Devontae Graham, 4th in the country with minutes played per game, so their staff doing a great job keeping their legs fresh, and we're seeing it on the three-point shots. Those legs look good under those shots.
Hey, Devontae Graham's had 3 minutes of rest this tournament. That's a lot for him.
A line drive goes for Konate. And that allows West Virginia to set up the press. And no matter how much energy you have in your legs, this has a tendency at some point to wear some teams down.
It does. Fortunately for Kansas, they play with 4 guards, so it makes it a little easier for them than most. West Virginia has been vulnerable to the drive and kick 3 in this first half, and you cannot do that with this team.
Mykhailiuk rises up. He's got another triple.
It's going to be a long night for West Virginia if they don't chase Kansas off the 3-point line.
Ahmad underneath, forced to pass, 5 to shoot. The lob, Konate goes at DeSouza and scores.
Nicely done. DeSouza wasn't watching the ball, and so the inbound pass went right over his head.
Garrett will drive it and draws a foul.
Let's watch this pass. See, DeSouza is not following the basketball, so they throw it right over his head, and that's too deep for Konate to catch that ball. Just a little bit of an experience.
That foul on Issa Ahmad, his first, so he and Konate each have a foul. That'll bring Lightfoot back in the game, and Malik Newman looks like he's ready to come back in for Garrett.
Let's give Bill Self a little credit, Bob. We're talking about the three-point shooting so far for Kansas. It was only 4 seasons ago that Kansas was 302nd in the country in three-point field goal attempts. Why? Because they had all the inside guys to throw it into. With this lineup the last couple years, they've lived by the 3-ball. And right now, they shoot about 40% of their shots behind the arc. And guess what? They make a lot of them.
Lane violation called on Wesley Harris. That gives Garrett another opportunity. And Harris goes right to the bench as D'Angelo Hunter comes in. First rest of the game for Jevon Carter as well. He's on the bench. Issa Ahmad sat down too. Miles back in, and Teddy Allen on for the first time for West Virginia.
Kansas has done a really good job of taking away any half-court offense so far by West Virginia.
Konate over Lightfoot and off the window.
How good is he over that left shoulder? That's something that he and Coach Martin have worked on.
There's the over-the-top pass against the pressure. Sloppy dribble by Devontae Graham. Here comes Beetle Bolden. He's got numbers. Leaves it for Miles. Off to Allen. He can't finish. Miles lost it. Taken away by Mykhailiuk. LeGerald Vick cruises in. Tried to throw it down and missed everything.
Remember how good Konate is. He's got incredible timing. As long as he gets both feet inside the restricted arc and he leaves his feet vertically, this is not a foul. Does he do it? That's a good play. Once he's inside the arc and goes straight up, Bob, he's entitled to his space to the top of the sprint center.
And he is really good in that space, almost to the top of the sprint center.
Absolutely.
He has ups.
Remember that first game in Morgantown? He had 6 blocks, and they all came early.
Konate over Lightfoot. Allen draws a foul on Lightfoot. That's his second.
With Sagaba Konate, it's about timing. Straight up, 2 hands. You're not dunking here. You know, when you think of the great shot blockers that we've seen through the years, Dikembe Mutombo, Patrick Ewing, all the great ones, what starts out before anything else, it's pride. And when we talk about Jevon Carter being one of the best at stealing the ball in the country, this kid has pride in his shot blocking. And when I talked to the coaching staff earlier in the season, I said, how much do you work on the block shot play with him? And they said, not a bit, because we don't want to change what he does instinctively.
Graham double team to the corner. Needs some help. Foul call on Miles. That's his first. Graham gets a run out. He's got DeSouza with him. Challenged by Konate, and he got a piece. And then a deflection. D'Angelo Hunter created the turnover. Here's Miles with the left hand. Konate tries to follow, and Allen working the offensive glass.
Right now for West Virginia, it's about intensity. They have ratcheted up.
Newman. Back tap by Mykhailiuk, and that's a foul on Mykhailiuk. That's his first. 1-point lead for West Virginia. Blocking shots is an art. And Sagaba Konate, he paints Picassos. We'll talk about it more in a moment.
What makes an elite shot blocker? Watch Sagaba Konate. First the anticipation. Watch the timing. He's going to go with his inside hand at the rim, the right hand, to stay away from the body of the defender. Let's run that back. Watch the inside hand and the timing to get this shot. That's when he jumps off 1 foot. If you try to dunk it on him, he's going to get 2 feet in the circle, stay vertical, and volleyball it back to you. This is all a combination of athleticism and tremendous instinct.
And it's not coached.
According to the coaching staff, they don't want to mess up something that he does at an elite level.
Hey, don't mess with Happy. You're
That's
happy
right.
with what he's doing? Let him do it. And here he is posting up on DeSouza. Nice shot fake by Konate.
Well, every fastball needs a curveball. So when you go jump hook to the middle and the defender bites, you step through him and up and under.
Mykhailiuk drives it. Net. And can't finish. It's Konate again.
I love that Kansas is challenging, but man, is this kid unbelievable in there. I always told my team, we are going at the shot blocker. I don't care if he blocks 20 shots. We will get him in foul trouble at some point. But this kid has a special gift.
Miles held, fighting his way through traffic.
Well, the reason he goes up with 2 hands to block those shots mostly, Fran, is because when he was doing it with 1 hand, he was too strong, and he would swat the ball so hard it would go out of bounds, and they would lose the possession. So the block didn't really matter. So he learned that if he goes up with 2 hands, like he's going to grab the ball, sometimes he can grab the ball, or he has a softer volleyball touch to one of his teammates. So a very unusual style. But think about this: with the new cylinder rule, it's perfect because he can go up, block a shot, and remain in that cylinder and not violate any rules.
Yeah, very good point, Holly. And he has created that arc form inside that restricted area arc.
Carter drives it. The reverse. Hit the underside of the rim, but a foul call.
And I'll tell you, that could have been basket interference as well. We know Carter likes to use the left hand to protect that shot from the shot blocker, and I thought I saw a hand go up through there.
That's DeSouza's first. And even though here in Kansas City, it kind of feels like the fog east, and you're going to get the reaction when a call goes against Kansas, everybody back in Morgantown basically is saying, you know what? My guy at the free throw line, Javon Carter, I don't want to hear it. Because they're going to bring it up. They'll be holding up signs that say 35-2, which is the foul shot disparity the last time these two teams met in Lawrence. And Bob Huggins ended up getting chased out of that game at the end.
By the way, only the 5th time Bob Huggins has ever been ejected in a game in over 35 years. The bark is usually worse than the bite.
Vic down the lane. Denied. DeSouza with the tip follow. No, basket interference, says Doug Sermons. The ball was up on the rim. DeSouza's first follow may have fallen through, but he tipped it again.
Easy call. Ball's inside the cylinder. This is a great crew now. They may not be perfect tonight, but the officiating in this league is, in my mind, usually as good as there is. They'll miss some, there's no doubt.
Newman commits a foul as he was holding Miles. So Kansas out of fouls to give. Only 4 so far on West Virginia.
Watch DeSouza again. He didn't watch the ball last time. I'd go inside because DeSouza's a young player.
Carter will drive it and float one over DeSouza. And DeSouza tips it to the corner. Players come together. And it looks like a foul will be called. That one's going to go, I think, against Teddy Allen. That's his first.
I was surprised Carter drove that ball because as long as here's the hustle in the corner. Watch Allen. Good call. but as long as he had Konate inside on the freshman, I would have thrown it in there. Remember what happened last night to Kansas's interior defense? Mayween had 29.
Newman. Got it.
You can count on Javonte Graham to drive it, draw a second defender, and I would rather him make the layup than give up that corner three if I were coaching.
Eight to shoot. 5 to shoot. Carter is able to rattle it home for 3. It's nothing new. West Virginia's got the lead against Kansas. Will this be the time they can hold on 3 consecutive times dating back to last year? West Virginia has had double-digit leads against the Jayhawks, and they have had heartbreaking comebacks haunt them. They've lost all 3 double-digit leads. Garrett from the corner. Can't answer.
Kansas will get back in this game if they keep getting open threes. Not necessarily Garrett, but the guys that can knock them down.
That's an air ball from D'Angelo Hunter.
Known to be a shooter, but that was ill-advised.
Vic pulls up. Long rebound to Carter. And here comes Daxter Miles.
You got the big guy. I'd go inside.
Konate with a moving screen. That's his second foul. Under 4 to go in the first half of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance.
Dave Fleming back with you here in Kansas City. What an amazing scene it is here at the Big 12 Championship. Coming up on our Audi halftime report, Robbie Hummel and I will break down this game. Plus, don't look now, it's March. John Calipari's Kentucky team playing its best basketball of the year, and the bubble teams sweating it out here over these last couple of days. Bob?
All right, Dave, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen, Fran Fraschilla, Holly Rowe. Excited to hear Dave and Robbie at halftime. What bubble teams you think will be sweating it out the most tonight and tomorrow afternoon?
Well, the Big 12 bubble teams, because how do you differentiate between Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas, Oklahoma? Baylor played a lot of the season not healthy, and they look good at the end of the year. Oklahoma State looked like a quality team.
DeSouza with Konate on the bench is able to capitalize.
And that's why that was such a bad foul by Sagaba Konate. And there you see the bubble teams, according to Joe Lunardi. I thought Oklahoma State played really well at the end of the year. Oklahoma's got so many quality wins, but they're going to have to overcome the look test at the end of the season.
Issa Ahmad set a moving screen. And that's his second. So now Ahmad and Konate both on the bench with 2. So it'll be Logan Rout and Wesley Harris out there with West as the front court.
This is a perfect opportunity for Kansas to start to get some flow offensively, because they can now drive to the rim without that monster in the game, Konate.
It is a big 3 minutes, isn't it, for West Virginia to hold on before halftime as Rout challenges Newman.
Yes, it is.
Miles double team, split the double team and lost it. Good hands by DeSouza. Here comes Mykhailiuk. DeSouza follows.
Last time Svi Mykhailiuk was in transition, Konate was back to challenge. Here comes Kansas, Bob. Dangerous time for the Mountaineers.
DeSouza with the steal. Mikhailuk leans in. That's off the mark. Four straight turnovers on the last 4 possessions for West Virginia.
And maybe the critical minute 40 of this entire game for them.
Carter, nice shot fake. Old school hoop for Jevon Carter.
Here comes a ball screen. Can Graham get into the paint?
Newman from the wing. Off the feed from Devontae Graham.
Graham can get into the paint. And anytime you drive the lane, you contract the defense towards you, and you give up that shot every time.
4 ties, 6 lead changes. Final minute. Carter got another. Timeout called by Bill Self. We're coming back to Kansas City in 30 seconds. Here in Kansas City, Sprint Center. Right down the road, if you've got 4 hours to kill, you can head to the Scottrade Center in St. Louis, only about 250 miles away. As Champ Week presented by Principal rolls on tomorrow at 1 Eastern, it's the SEC Championship game on ESPN and the ESPN app. If you're out and about, Kentucky and Tennessee, can Rick Barnes' team complete what really looked like an impossible dream at the start of the season? Picked 13th in that league, and they're in the title game, and they've been ranked for some time now.
And guess what? They went into Rupp Arena in February and won, so they can do it again. Meanwhile, for Kansas, this guy, Devontae Graham, has 5 assists today. All 5 have led to a 3-point make.
Backcourt violation. Newman missed Garrett.
And with Bill Self, you know what he hates about that? His opportunity to go 2 possessions to 1. Now, if you're West Virginia here, not that much time to do that. Get the best shot you can.
And now Jevon Carter calls a timeout. So that's a 30-second timeout for West Virginia. Jevon Carter has scored 10 in a row for the Mountaineers. Well, 41.5 seconds to go here in the first half. Konate and Ahmad both on the bench with 2 fouls each. You have to give it to West Virginia, though. They have survived what we thought, at least to this point, was going to be maybe the 3 defining minutes of the first half.
As a coach, my feeling would be, we got the 2 big guys on the bench. The shot blocker has dominated. Let's get through the first half with the lead. If we have the lead, we come out to start the second half, everything's intact. On the other hand, what Kansas has done, terrific, and they've done it all year long. Drive it, kick it with that small lineup, and Bob, they make 40% of their threes. You cannot give that many threes up the way West Virginia has so far.
Well, Kansas set a team record last year, 318 made threes. They have already broken their own record set last year. They're up to 336 made threes this season. We're not even in the NCAA tournament yet. Konate back in with the 2 fouls. About a 10-second differential.
Now, if he's in the game, you would think they'll go to him, right? Otherwise, why is he in?
And they do. Over to Sosa. Air ball. Back tapped. Did not hit the rim, so the shot clock does not reset. Here's Carter down to 8 to shoot. He looks up and sees it.
He can't go left, remember. He goes right.
Carter for 3. In and out. Tipped around. And here comes Devontae Graham with 10 seconds to go. Lobs it to De Sousa. Good if it goes for Miles. Off the backboard. What a thunderous way to end the first half for Kansas, and what a half it was for Silvio De Sousa. He's 3 rebounds away from a double-double in place of Azubuike.
Bill Self he thought he'd have De Sousa playing at a high level in February. It took longer. It took March. Take a look. He's here. He's arrived.
Let's go over to Holly.
Well, Coach Self, in December, Silvio De Sousa got off a plane in flip-flops. How do you describe his growth to what he is today that we're seeing on the court?
Well, he's playing great today, and he needs to play great. We need him to, and we need Mitch to stay out of foul trouble. But I'm real proud of him. He's done a good job, but we're only halfway home. This is a good first half.
What can you point to that has Malik Newman playing at the level he is right now?
He's just believing right now, and he's doing a good job. All our kids are playing hard, and we need to come out. We got to take a little bit better shots the second half. We certainly got to do a better job on the glass.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
A terrific first half and exactly the game we expected. 1 point separating Kansas and West Virginia at the break, 34-33. West Virginia leads it. Stay tuned, the Audi halftime report. Dave and Robbie getting set up. They'll have it for you after a short break.
Game flow brought to you by LG V30. And here's what I want you to know, Bob. Devontae Graham only has 2 points tonight, but he has accounted, you ready for this? 19 points with those assists. And then how about Sagaba Konate? Picked up a second foul. That was a big play for West Virginia, but he's proven he can dominate on both ends.
Let's catch up with Holly.
Well, guys, Bob Huggins said coming out of the locker room at halftime that they just had some mistakes that they cannot have. He said those 2 illegal screens were crucial. We cannot come down the floor and have possessions where we don't score. He also said they had to improve in transition. They allowed Kansas 6 fast break points. He wants better focus there. And then rebounding. He knows that this is going to come right down to it, and he just wants a little bit better execution and focus on the details.
Look who's starting, Bob, in the center spot for Kansas.
Silvio De Sousa is Kansas's leading scorer. He's got 10, and banking it home is Devontae Graham to start off the second half. 7 lead changes to go along with 4 ties between these two teams.
Remember, West Virginia's flow in the offensive end was great when this guy touched it.
Konate scores again.
And now what he's got to do is play smart defense and not pick up that 3rd foul. Why? He's been a tough matchup for Kansas's defense.
Mikhailuk uses the screen. Got a 3.
Well, we said it in the first half. You're just playing with fire if you go under a ball screen the way that guy shoots it. That's just not a good defensive possession.
Javon Carter floats one home.
I know one thing, Bob. In the first 21 minutes, the stars have shown up. Carter and Graham have both been excellent.
Five count. Press Virginia creates the turnover.
You don't see that very often. Kansas usually proficient at getting it in against that pressure. Graham's got 4 points, Bob, but I'm not worried about that if I'm Bill Self, because he has really spread the wealth around.
Miles, a line drive, 3 from the corner, and that puts West Virginia back on top.
Remember who's at the back of that press in case Kansas breaks it. The shot blocker.
3 made threes now for Dax Miles. He's got 11. Good hands by Carter, as usual.
Yes, and you notice Carter started out in that possession on Mikhailuk. Now he's back to Graham. Interchangeable with Miles.
Vic spots up. Yes. Tied again.
That's the story of the game for Kansas's offense. Drive it, draw 2 defenders, kick it out. I know it's a recurring theme, but it is the reason Kansas is in this game.
And it's why they've made 8 threes and are 50% from behind the arc. Here's Konate. Raked across the wrists by Devontae Graham.
One Hall of Famer, and the other who will be in someday. And for those who say, well, why isn't Bob Huggins in the Hall of Fame just yet with over 800 wins? Keep in mind that every active coach in the Naismith Hall of Fame has one thing Bob Huggins doesn't have, and that is a national championship. But he is heading to Springfield at some point.
Bob Huggins' teams have won 10 different titles in 4 different leagues. 2 years ago, they got to the Big 12 championship game and lost to Kansas. Last year, they got to the Big 12 championship game and lost to Iowa State. Back against Kansas for the 3rd straight time in the finals. And there's Canate denying Vic. Carter gives it up to West. Comes up short with the left hand. Out of bounds, off DeSousa.
Watch this now. This is incredible timing in the cylinder. And that time, what do we say? The inside hand, which usually keeps your body away from the driver. Straight up.
Miles has another one. That's a long 2. You always wonder about West Virginia if they're going to go through that typical drought of 6 or 7 minutes where they maybe score a bucket or 2. It almost seems like the shooting of Daxter Miles and how hot he's been takes that off the table.
Well, it has so far, Bob, but we have 16 minutes to go.
DeSousa seals inside and scores.
How about this guy? He's had more production in 3 games in this tournament than he has had since joining the Kansas Jayhawks. Go inside.
Canate hit the side of the backboard. Miles flips it up and in. Mikhailuk step back. And the rebound to Lamont West. Miles accelerates. Knocked away by Mikhailuk. Right back to Miles, and he's got 17. And Bill Self wants a timeout.
West Virginia turning up the heat the way you have to do it against the champion.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Investments, retirement, insurance.
Had to be worried without Udoka Azubuike healthy. What type of production would they get from Mitch Lightfoot and Silvio DeSousa? Well, they have been surprised and then some. As we take a look at who's flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile. It's been that young man, Silvio DeSousa. In terms of points this season, 25 total points during the entire regular season, 26 points in the 3 games in this championship, given the opportunity to play with Azubuike out. And he's been a constant counselor over his shoulder when he's been on the bench. Azubuike has been that player coach.
The effort has always been there. Now he's not thinking. He's not thinking about plays. He's not thinking about defensive assignments. He's just reacting to what he sees on the court.
And the rebounding numbers even more stark. 18 regular season rebounds for DeSousa. He's got 26 rebounds in the tournament. In 3 games, Mikhailuk off the rim. Daxter Miles hangs and gets it to go.
Since Daxter Miles has been in the starting lineup, after he was out with an illness, he has finished his career tremendously. Making shots, defending. He knows the end is near.
Logan Rout bumps Graham. 19 points for Daxter Miles.
How about that? He came into this game averaging 20 and a half. Maybe it's Miles, maybe it's Newman, who could be the tournament's most outstanding player.
Back with a Big 12 flashback brought to you by Phillips 66.
West Virginia, 14-point lead. It's a big time possession.
Graham for three. Yes! That'll do it!
An incredible effort by Kansas.
Kansas down by 13 at the break. Graham for the tie. Yes! Ball fake. And the finish by Graham. Kansas is going to steal one here in Morgantown.
KU's gone from down 10 to up 2. Miles inside. Blocked by Azubuike. Newman. Dagger. And Kansas will win it.
Will we get to the dreaded double-digit lead for West Virginia? A moment ago, it was their largest lead at 8, down to 6. After LeGerald Vick knocks down that jumper, but the last 3 times these teams have met in all 3 games in the second half, West Virginia has led by double digits, and all 3 games Kansas has come back to steal them.
Bob Huggins would love a double-digit lead right now.
Mykhailiuk with the left hand.
I really like the way he's improved over 4 years. He was a one-dimensional player when he arrived here as a 17-year-old, and he's put the driving ability in his game.
Miles can't quiet the crowd. Logan Araujo with an offensive rebound. West, a floater. That's in and out. West has it again. That misses. Here comes Grant.
Don't go
Grant
under.
for 3. Rattles it home. 1-point game. Issa Ahmad doesn't get the roll. Rout, offensive rebound. Carter a 3. Foul on West Virginia. West's called for the personal.
Kansas has 9 threes tonight. Look at the defender go under the screen. How many times are you going to do that and understand that you're playing with fire?
Another foul called on the Mountaineers. That's going to go against Teddy Allen on the inbound. That's his second. So just a moment ago, before this 7-0 Kansas run, it was West Virginia's largest lead at 8. But now Kansas with a chance to retake the lead.
Kansas is 14-2 this year when they make 10 threes. They're 1 away.
Devontae Graham, NBA range. Knocks it down. KU back on top. Konate in the post. Fouled by Mykhailiuk.
This is deja vu, Bob, because 2 years ago, Devontae Graham against West Virginia had 27 in the championship. And he was the tournament's most outstanding player. And he's trying to duplicate what he did as a sophomore.
And that scene in the Power and Light District, literally across the street from the Sprint Center. It's almost as many Kansas fans out there as there are in here. But a chance for Konate at the line to get the game tied as Mykhailiuk sits down with 3. Kai Luke is the first player for either team with 3 fouls. A steal. Carter for 3. And West Virginia turns it around again.
Remember, they can turn up the heat because they have the shot blocker protecting the rim.
Foul called on Allen as he mugged Lightfoot. That's his 3rd. A duel between 2 of the best point guards in America.
We've seen this time and time again, and they know it's a big moment. They usually deliver. Seniors, veterans, leaders, ball players.
What an epic showdown between the Big 12 Player of the Year and the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. 2 legacy-building seniors, Devontae Graham and Jevon Carter, and this is what they are playing for. Who will take it home? When you think back on the story of how these 2 young men got here, it is amazing. Jevon Carter was trying to decide between basketball and baseball. He said, I'll go wherever I get the first offer. 2 weeks later, West Virginia is his only Power 5 offer, and now he's going to go down as one of the best in history. For Devontae Graham, Appalachian State was where he was headed until he blew up at a tournament, got more offers at Brewster Academy, and found himself at Kansas. Both guys under-recruited, both guys overperforming.
And there's a McDonald's All-American who had to transfer to Lawrence in Malik Newman, who knocks it down. He comes from Mississippi State and has resurrected his career under Bill Self.
Oh, yeah, he sat out last year and learned how to play a little defense.
Allen in the lane, yes. Now, speaking of Carter and Devontae Graham, when you do as many games as we do in this league, just going to soak up these last 11 minutes. I'm really going to miss watching these 2 guys compete against each other and all the times we've had a chance to watch them play. They've been a lot of fun. Newman thought about a step back. Now needs some help. 7 to shoot.
Teddy Allen is face guarding Devontae Graham.
Newman drives it. Wild shot. Harris on the end line saves it to Carter.
Numbers.
Daxter Miles buries another triple. Timeout called by Bill Self. "22 points for Dax Miles."
You know what? I would hate to fill out the all-tournament team ballot because there have been some incredible performances. Newman, Graham, Carter, and how about Daxter Miles? How hot has he been in this tournament? Don't say hotter than fish grease.
That's yours. This is the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, a Champ Week presented by Principal. Rolls on tomorrow at 1 Eastern with the SEC Championship game. It's on ESPN and the ESPN app if you're out and about as Kentucky takes on Tennessee.
Well, it's a cliche, but it feels like a prize fight. You know, round by round, they're delivering blows, and right now, West Virginia has landed a few. Bill Self calls the timeout and hopes that his team under this guy will regroup.
If West Virginia is finally going to break this hex of leading Kansas, big leads, not being able to hold on, what has to happen over these last 10 minutes?
It's very simple. They have to keep making shots, and they also have to, they cannot give up the three-point line. They have to make Kansas drive it into Konate. And if he doesn't block it, give up the 2, but not the 3.
Kansas was #1 in the Big 12 this season, averaging 10 made threes per game. And that one rims off for Devontae Graham. If that one would have gone down, that would have been their 12th made three. And we still have a quarter of the game to go.
Yeah, Mountaineers playing with fire if he gets that look, Bob. I go inside again.
Miles straight away. Konate, offensive rebound, puts it home.
Strong, because when he came down with two hands, he went right up through the defense like they weren't there.
Vic. Yes. Three-pointer number 12 for Kansas.
You just can't leave him. But you know what? These Kansas guys, they've been in so many big games.
Carter picks up his dribble. 4 on the shot clock. Does Issa Ahmad realize it? He does. That's a shot clock violation.
Watch Sagaba Konate. Watch him carve out space inside. Reaches. That's an out-of-area rebound and powers it right up through.
$18 points and 4 rebounds for Sags Konate.
Remember, Bill Self was a power basketball coach until he had to come up with a lineup to utilize the three-point line. And you're seeing a clinic tonight.
De Sousa off the feed from Graham. Miles, in and out. De Sousa the rebound. A chance for Kansas to tie or take the lead again. Devontae Graham. That's the same move Javon Carter put on Kansas in the first half. That old school shot fake.
Big fella's got to touch it.
Instead of 3, Carter can't hit it. Malik Newman. Kansas leads again. Timeout, Bob Huggins. It's not the fog, but it's close. Who's going to have their name on the trophy? We'll decide over the next 6 minutes plus.
They're a hard team to play because they play differently than anybody else in the country.
It's a little fundamental. Jalen Brunson and their guard play, Villanova stuff.
Xavier checks a lot of boxes offensively. They can score inside. They can also knock down threes.
Kansas has performed way beyond its personnel.
Tomorrow is Selection Sunday, and at 7 Eastern, bracketology. Reese, Jay Will, Jay Bill, Seth, Dickie V, and a host of our college hoop experts. They'll break it all down, each region as they're revealed. Sports Center starts us off at 5 Eastern on ESPN with the reveal of the field of 68, both streaming live on the ESPN app.
Wow. I'll tell you, this performance by both teams tonight, absolutely awesome under pressure.
And Daxter Miles just keeps on making big shots.
And this is a guy, Bob, his first 100 threes of the season for Miles, he only made 25 of them. First time we're seeing Beetle Bolden tonight. A little surprise.
Newman wants to call a timeout. And that's the last for Kansas with 6:11 to go.
Well, in that last timeout, West Virginia's coach, Bob Huggins, really challenged his guys. He said Kansas isn't running offense. we're not fighting through the screens hard enough. We're not fighting through anything hard enough. He challenged his guys to turn it up another notch on defense and fight through those ball screens harder. Kansas getting way too many open three-point looks.
We also wonder how many times in the last 6 minutes Kansas would love to have a timeout in their pocket against the press.
We're going to find out, Bob, because you're exactly right. And the press has been pretty good tonight. 4 or 5 sloppy plays by Kansas.
Six minutes and 11 seconds to go and only 8 to shoot for Kansas when they come out of the huddle as we take a look at a performance above. Brought to you by Jersey Mike's. And Daxter Miles in the second half has been the offense for West Virginia.
Well, he's been the offense in 3 games, Bob, because he was averaging almost 21 coming in after the first 2, and he has not cooled off one single bit. We talk about Jevon Carter, but these guys are a pair. They came in together. They first met at a high school all-star game in Beckley, West Virginia, where they were matched up, and they decided then in April of their senior year of high school they were going to room together. They've been through thick and thin in Morgantown, and they are going to lead Morgantown among the all-time greats.
Well, they have now combined to play 274 games together when you add up the total number of games that Miles and Carter have played. And they are the most experienced backcourt in any Power 5 conference.
And let's see what Bill Self's got cooked up as an out-of-bounds timeout play. Very efficient.
Vic is fouled by Carter. And Jevon Carter can't believe it. That's his second.
Personal foul number 2. Team foul number 5.
Mykhailiuk. Quick trigger from the corner. Won't go. DeSouza goes over the back. That's his second.
Issa Ahmad did everything he could to hold his ground. DeSouza is a big guy as well. But the official, Jerry Pollard, said, nope, you climbed his back.
Didn't look like Bill Self was happy with that decision of Mykhailiuk to shoot a contested 3 from the corner. He yelled across the court, Svi, we had 20 seconds.
No, they've gotten so many uncontested tonight, they needed to be patient.
Konate lost it on the way up, and DeSouza corrals it. And now Devontae Graham takes over.
Ball screen coming. Can he get to the paint?
There goes DeSouza down the lane.
That's his 12th assist tonight, Devontae Graham. He's allowed his teammates to do the scoring. All he's done is orchestrate this entire attack.
Miles for 3. Way up in the air for the rebound is Vic. Mykhailiuk turns it over. Good hands by Bolden. Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe. 5 minutes left to decide the Big 12 championship. Carter, short. Another rebound for DeSouza. And another foul called, I think, on Carter. Now it's actually going to go against Konate. That is his 3rd.
West Virginia's coming with the pressure, but the next foul will be free throws for Kansas.
Devontae Graham. Yes. Beetle Bolden. He can't hit a 3. 4-point lead for Kansas, and they've got the ball. Coming up on 4 minutes to go. Devontae Graham knocks down a triple. Largest lead for Kansas. Timeout, West Virginia.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Hooters' new smoked wings.
With 9.5 minutes to go in the Big 12 championship game, Jevon Carter and West Virginia had a 63-56 lead. And Saad Konate was feeling it. Kansas responded, led by Devontae Graham with a 17-3 run. That brings us to this moment, 3:49 to go in the second half of the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship. Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe and the rest of our crew. And Kansas has the 73-66 lead.
Kansas can stay aggressive because they only have 3 team fouls as we come down the stretch.
Beetle Bolden got free. Newman from the corner. Another three for Kansas. Their 15th triple of the game. Jevon Carter tied up. And that will be a foul on Mykhailiuk. That is his 4th.
Malik Newman made his first 3 tonight. A minute and a half into this game. And we talked about West Virginia guarding the three-point line. And they haven't. It's that simple, Bob. They have been shot out of this Sprint Center by Malik Newman and company. An amazing shooting performance tonight.
And Devontae Graham's got a point assist double-double for the 5th time this season. 13 assists with 17 points, a career high in assists for the player of the year in the Big 12 in the championship game. His 13 assists have led to 35 Kansas points. Now he's trapped to the corner, but Newman gets it across. DeSouza tied up, gathers, can't hit it, foul call. That's Konate.
I never mind when an official blows the whistle late, as long as he thinks he's got it right. Oftentimes the fans will think, well, he blew it late, so he must have missed it. As a coach, you want him to get it right, and that's why the free throw came, the whistle came a little bit late.
And now Konate's got 4. Couple of misses for DeSouza. And a chance for West Virginia to cut into the lead. 2.5 minutes to go. Miles for 3. Newman's got it.
DeSouza did a great job of keeping Konate from getting the ball. He didn't get the rebound, but he kept the other guy from getting it.
Beetle Bolden all over Devontae Graham. 10 to shoot. Graham to the corner. Mykhailiuk in and out. Here comes Javon Carter. Mykhailiuk tipped it. Carter's got it. No foul call.
I'd use clock here. If I'm Kansas, I get it out, get the ball to Graham.
Graham's got it with 10 to shoot. Feels like a must stop for West Virginia. Devontae Graham fouled on a reach in by Miles. Coming up at 8:30 Eastern, we'll take you to Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the New York Life ACC championship game. North Carolina and Virginia. That's on deck. You can always catch all our games live on the ESPN app.
People forget that coming into Devontae Graham's junior year, he had a teammate by the name of Frank Mason. And it was Graham off of a great sophomore year that had all the buzz. It was Mason a year ago, but now Graham has picked up exactly where he left off when he was the tournament's most outstanding player 2 years ago this week.
Kansas as a team only 2 of 6 at the line, but they've got a 7-point lead. Carter, stolen by Newman. You have to start fouling if you're West Virginia?
Absolutely.
Reach in foul called on Carter. Newman to the line. It's the last 1-and-1. That's the 9th on West Virginia. And will this legacy end with a Big 12 tournament championship for 2 seniors who side by side have been as prolific as a 3-point combination as KU has ever had. And this is the most experienced backcourt in all of Power 5 basketball. One of those 2 pairs of seniors is going to hang another banner.
Yep. And who could have thought that Frank Mason's tremendous senior year could have been topped by his backcourt mate. But Devontae Graham has done that. It's amazing, Bob. I thought both team stars tonight came to play and played extremely well. And the difference in this game is going to be that Kansas shot the lights out. It's that simple. You can't let Kansas get those open looks, but you also have to make those shots. And remember, it was Graham and all those assists that got his teammates the easy looks. And oh, by the way, he made a few as well. But under pressure in the biggest game of the season, Kansas's seniors and their guards delivered.
Well, against a West Virginia team who's built on defense. They are built on turning you over, pressuring you, and making you take contested shots in the second half. Kansas is shooting 71% from the field, and they've made 9 of 13 threes. That's flipped the game.
Absolutely.
Now, we have seen miracle comebacks between these 2 teams the last 3 times that they've met. All 3 times, it was KU that pulled off the comeback, trailing by double digits and finding a way to win. What started the 3-game streak was a big Monday last year, where Kansas was down by 14 with under 3 minutes to go. And at Allen Fieldhouse, they forced overtime and found a way to win. Now it's on West Virginia to try and pull off a miracle comeback in the last 51 seconds. 1-and-1.
I'll tell you what's amazing. The day before the tournament, when we talked to Bill Self, we asked him about Malik Newman, and he said, too inconsistent. He said, good moments this season, but too inconsistent. I think he's been consistently excellent in the last 3 games.
72 total points in this championship for Malik Newman. Time coming off the clock for West Virginia. Carter for 3. Short. Ahmad an offensive rebound. Beetle Bolden tries a three. That's no good. LeGerald Vick's got it for KU. And time might run out. Has Mykhailiuk with the exclamation point. Graham a steal. And he'll take the clock down. The Jayhawks do it again. They are the champions of the Big 12. Kansas ends the game on a 25-7 run, and that is going to make the head coach happy.
Oftentimes he talks about the tournament not being that important if you win the regular season, but he's a competitor. And remember, they did it without Azubuike because of guys like De Sousa.
And Devontae Graham's mom watches his son put up an exclamation point of his own at the end of this season. A point assist double-double for the Big 12 Player of the Year. Dax Miles did all he could. We'll go over to Holly.
Well, Devontae, on Thursday, you found out you'd be without your big man. I think everyone thought that Kansas couldn't win this tournament. Why did you and your teammates believe otherwise?
Coach Self, man, when we found out Doak was hurt, first thing he did was we had a team meeting, and he just told us there's no excuses. We got to go with what we got, and everybody just got to step up. And Malik carried us throughout the whole tournament. Mitch and Silvio played great, and everybody just played their hearts out.
Malik did carry you through this tournament. It reminds me of you when you were a sophomore. What does his performance and the confidence he's finding remind you of yourself at that point?
I think he's just finding himself. He found a little rhythm, and he just got to keep riding that wave. You know, it's a perfect time for him to catch fire like this, and I'm glad he did it because now we Big 12 champs, tournament champs.
Of all the boxes you've checked and the goals you've accomplished in your career, to do this here in front of 20,000 strong, how does this feel to take this championship trophy home?
It feels great. You know, the 2 years, this is my second time winning it. The other two, you know, it felt weird going home, you know. And the fans deserve it, and we worked so hard, we deserve it, and I'm just glad we did it.
Not going home empty-handed this year. Thank you, Devontae.
Thank you.
2 years ago, Devontae Graham was the most outstanding player of the Big 12 championship as a sophomore, and now as a senior and as the player of the year in the league. Kansas, after 14 consecutive regular season championships, gets capped this year. They end the regular season as the Big 12 champs. For Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe, I'm Bob Wischusen. Now it's time for Reese and the guys with College Game Day.